Aloha, welcome to the BishopMuseum's Library and Archives. I'm Hadley Andersen.
I'm DeSoto Brown. It's Throwback Thursday time here in the Library and Archives. And today, you know what we're going to talk about.
I do.
Okay.
We're going to talk about dime stores.
Dime stores. Now that is a term that not everybody today is going to understand or recognize, but there were a whole bunch of different what were called chain stores in the United States. And that meant that they were stores that opened in many different locations. And chain stores grew tremendously during the 1920s, and a number of them were regional, but some of them were throughout the entire country. Some of those chain stores, particularly what we call variety stores or dime stores or 5 and 10 cent stores, were here in the Hawaiian Islands.
Oh wow, okay, great.
Okay, so the first of these stores to open here was the Crest Company, and this is the Crest store that was located in downtown Honolulu on 4th Street. And it opened in 1931, and it was very popular right from the very beginning because it had a tremendous assortment of stuff and it was very inexpensive. And the Crest Company in particular was noted for building really architecturally distinguished buildings in all the places that it built. And so as you can see, this store is really pretty swell looking.
It's pretty beautiful.
It is beautiful, particularly considering that it sold really low price merchandise. It was not a high-end store, but it sold low price stuff, and yet they built really nice buildings to sell all these little 5 and 10 cent items. And of course today, the concept of selling things for 5 cents or 10 cents or 25 cents is incomprehensible.
Can you give like an estimate of what that would mean today? Like, is that a dollar store? Or?
It's probably sort of like a dollar store, but this was better than a dollar store. It had better quality stuff. In any case, so that first Crest opened in Honolulu in 1931, and eventually there were Crest stores on each of the 4 major islands. And so this is the Crest store in Wailuku, Maui, as it appeared in about 1943. And it's hard to see, but if you look on the marquee down here, it says S.H. Crest and Company 5, 10, 25 cent store. So that's because, again, those stores really advertised themselves as selling really inexpensive merchandise. That's why they were called 5 and 10 cent stores or dime stores. And there was a popular song in the 1930s that was called, "I Found $1 Million Baby at a 5 and 10 cent store."
Wow.
There you go. Okay.
It's referred to as the 5 and dimes, and in that picture you see some really beautiful stuff on the building.
Oh yeah,
details on the building.
Oh yes,
Still.
yes. No, I mean that's what's quite wonderful, particularly about Crest. So this is the Crest store that was in Hilo, and that Crest building is still there in downtown Hilo today. It's been reused for other types of things, and you can see the detailing is really nice. And also you can see this is the lunch counter, and the 5 and 10 cent stores often had places where you could eat as well as merchandise for sale. Obviously, the Crest store in Honolulu had a lunch counter as well. And something that happened at lunch counters, which was really historically significant in the history of the entire United States, was in a number of states, the lunch counters in these dime stores were segregated. And so black people were not allowed to eat at them. Yeah. And that was one of the major sources of civil rights demonstrations in the United States in the 1960s against segregated lunch counters. Well, that didn't happen here, obviously. We didn't have segregation laws, so everybody could eat at the Crest or Woolworth lunch counters. And speaking of Woolworth, oh wait, we're not there yet.
Okay, almost.
This is a picture of the Crest store, the downtown Crest store in about 1959. And if you can see, it may be difficult to see, but there's a whole bunch of interesting stuff for sale. It's so varied. What we have here, we have like a garbage can, we have trash containers, we have chairs and tables, we have flower vases, we've got electric clocks and other electric appliances like irons and fans, and we've got tools. I mean, they sold a whole bunch of stuff, and they sold it at low prices. And this Crest store in particular, for me, when I was a little kid, we didn't go to this downtown Crest that much, but I was always really intrigued because there was so much to look at. I mean, even if I didn't care about it or know what it was, there was just this huge variety of stuff to walk around and look at. And that was one of the big attractions of going to the dime store.
So to look at.
I mentioned Woolworths, and Woolworths was the most famous of the 5 and 10 cent stores in the United States. And in fact, Woolworths was international eventually. They opened stores in other countries too. We didn't get a Woolworths store here till 1955, and this is the 1955 new Woolworth building in downtown Honolulu, which was on Fort Street and Hotel Street. It was just about less than a block away from the Crest store that I just showed you. And eventually there were other Woolworth stores in the Hawaiian Islands as well, and they followed the same type of format. They had all different kinds of stuff. They had lunch counters. There were many different Woolworth locations. There was one in Waikiki that was really big, and it had a huge restaurant, and it had a lot of Hawaiian souvenirs for sale.
Like that.
Oh yeah. And there were other ones too. There was the National Dollar Store that I'm talking about here. There was Cornette. There was Ben Franklin. And Ben Franklin, this is a picture of the Moanalua Shopping Center in the late 1950s. And right here you can see the sign for the Ben Franklin store, which again was a dime store. It has the numbers 5 and 10 on the sign to show you it's a 5 and 10 cent store. And Ben Franklin is the only company that's still in existence of these ones that I've been mentioning. And it is no longer a variety store or dime store, it's a craft store. And all the other ones are gone. And they were hugely important. There were many other chain stores or variety stores throughout the United States that, again, are all gone. And they've all been replaced by, in many cases, this is what happened here in the Hawaiian Islands, we saw the rise of the discount store. The discount store sold lots of different stuff, and it sold it at a discount, but it was physically a much bigger store so that it was able to stock a great deal more. And the discount stores that started here in the 1950s, which again in their time were extremely influential, were Wigwam, and that's the picture that I'm holding here of the first Wigwam store, which is on Kamehameha Highway, which is essentially like an extension of Dillingham Boulevard, not too far from here in sort of lower Kalihi. Wigwam, Wigwam and Gem and Holiday Mart and Gibson's were all big discount stores, and just like the variety stores before them, they advertised a great deal and they had lots and lots of customers. And so if you're old enough, you will remember these names, and you'll remember going to these stores, and you'll remember that they advertised constantly on radio and TV and in newspapers. And it's kind of amazing to think that all of these really important retailers are gone. They've all in turn been through their high points and then they vanish. And the only reason that we even know they existed is because there are a few things like photographs and things like this left. And those who are old enough, such as myself, will remember Wigwam store. Your dollar buys more at the Wigwam store.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, these are the things that have been imprinted upon us.
Well, I remember my mother telling me stories of when she was a little girl going to Woolworths in Florida, and then of course my grandmother was British, and so she already had Woolworths in England as well.
Yes, right. That's right. And Woolworth already had stores in Germany, and they expanded, I know, at least to Cuba. Again, major companies which are now gone. That's why we talk about them on Throwback Thursday. And before we go, I just want to also mention that we will be opening our new exhibit, Journeys, very soon.
Right, August 14th. That's when that's going to be opening, and it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be all about the Northwestern Hawaiian Islands.
Northwestern Hawaiian Islands and the natural history, the cultural history, the military history, and all kinds of other aspects of what that was all about.
So if you want more information, visit our website, BishopMuseum.org, and come back and join us for our next Throwback Thursday.
Yeah, and come and see Bishop Museum in person. And at least if you can't come in person, come and visit us online. So till next Throwback Thursday, everybody.
Aloha. Aloha.